All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a treat. We have the beautiful Alicia sitting for me today. So a nice change for you to see somebody different. So as I always do, I'm just starting Alicia's skin with a little micellar wipe. These are by MAC, and I switched to the micellar kind that they have because I find they are just less irritating. Sensitive skin, sometimes the regular ones are a little too perfumed. So just a little bit of the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which I love for dry skins and normal skins alike. Even though it's very rich, it doesn't contain a lot of oil, or I think any oil at all, so I find it works really well. Alicia has particularly dehydrated skin today, so I thought it was especially good for her. And I'm just letting it sit on the skin. I'm brushing it in with a foundation brush, and then I just put a little bit of a non-oily eye serum underneath her eyes. So I'm going to be using NARS eyeshadow, so I figured I would use the NARS eyeshadow base. This is the Pro Prime. And I do sometimes find, like, if I'm using NARS eyeshadow, it works best with their base. If I'm using MAC, it works best with their base. So they probably develop them together. So fast forwarding, sorry my hand is in the way. This is the NARS eyeshadow duo in Nouveau Monde. And I'm just starting at the base of the lash, and I'm kind of brushing up to where the natural crease is. I find if I do it in that direction, I have less fall down, and then also with the primer down, that helps to grip the eyeshadow, and you just have a neater application. I'm doing the foundation second in any case because you'll get a little bit of fall down, but really easy, just taking the green and that sort of like shimmery, sort of celestial, icy bluish gray, and I'm kind of blending them together, but letting the green be the dominant color, and then almost using that the bluish silver color as like a topper. So now that we've got all the green down, which I think looks so nice with Alicia's skin tone, I'm just taking a black eyeliner. This is MAC Feline, and I'm just kind of gently scrubbing it into the upper lash line. I feel like scrub is such a harsh word, but I'm kind of wiggling it back and forth in that I'm not doing one fell swoop. It doesn't have to be neat, but I'm basically manipulating it into sort of a little upturned kitten flick. I'm going to go and blend that out in any case. The MAC Feline, it is good for smudging. It's not as smudgy as Smolder, but I don't want it to be too smudgy. So it allows you a little bit of playtime, but it's a little bit neater, if that makes sense. And now I'm just going back in with my eyeshadow brush. This is really easy. I didn't have to use a ton of brushes. And I'm just going over that little kitten flick so that it's not going to be a severe color. It's just going to almost add a little border on the edge of the eye, and the eyes kind of get drawn out. So now I'm going to go into the crease, and I'm using a mid-tone color. This is actually a bronzer, which you're going to see in a second. It is the MAC bronzer called Give Me Sun. There it is. And a lot of times I will use that in the crease of the eye as a mid-tone. Now you can put the mid-tone down before you put the color, or sometimes I'll do it after because I want to see where that crease is going to be, because it may be the natural crease or it may be a little higher. And it just helps the blend when you're going from a color back to the brow bone. It's sort of like that mid-tone. It blends it out. It gives it a smoother transition, hence the name transition shade. So now I'm just putting a little bit of a brow bone highlight. This is just a matte kind of bone shade, just a little bit lighter than Alicia's skin tone. And that gives us a little bit of brow carving out on the lower portion of the brow. Okay, so now we are going into foundation. I am mixing a little bit of the BECCA foundation, which I will list below, and I am going to mix that with a darker shade. So right now it looks a little bit light for Alicia, but as you can see, I'm focusing it mostly in the center of the face, and then I'm going in a little bit later. You're going to see I'm going to add a deeper tone, and that's going to give us almost like a little bit of highlighting and contouring, but just doing it directly with the foundations. I find that I like to do that sometimes because that way I don't have to do foundation, then more layers, then more layers. I can kind of do it in one fell swoop, particularly for Alicia because she doesn't like a lot of foundation, nor does she need a lot of foundation. So this way you kind of lessen the amount of product, and you get that nice result of a little bit of like texture, a little contour, and then it's not this like flat background that is your skin. And just buffing it in. I'm using the same brush, and I find that that also helps the blend. It just kind of like, they all kind of meld together. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of under eye concealing. The color I'm using is a slight bit peachier, so that'll counteract any kind of like bluish or greenish tones that naturally occur under the eyes. To be honest, Alicia's skin is pretty perfect. There is not much at all to cover, so it made my job pretty easy. And this is just a Graftobian palette. It's an HD cream camouflage, which can be used for foundation, for concealing. You can kind of do with it what you like. It's actually a pro product, but anybody can use it, anybody can buy it. So now that I've got the concealer in place, I'm just going to pat it into place with a little bit of the MAC Set Powder. This is basically a white powder. It's a little bit like flour, but I find that if you use it sheerly and you use it on a sponge like I'm using, you can use it on deeper skin tones as well. I think the secret with this one is not using too much, because it's pretty potent because of its thickness. So now I'm just brushing it all away. So everything is set in place, and we're going to go in and going to do a little bit of bronzing later, so that way it doesn't look like Alicia is wearing a color of foundation that's a little bit light. I think from the camera now it might look a little bit light, but if you look at her neck and her ear, we're basically the same color. When you're doing your foundation, you want to keep in mind that people are going to see your neck and your chest, which are probably not going to be covered with foundation. So you basically want that to be just about the same color. So now I'm going in with this bronzer. This is one from BH Cosmetics. I believe it's called Bronze Gal. I'll put all of it in the description box below. This one is a beautiful color, way too deep for me. I could use it as an eyeshadow, but on Alicia it is perfect to add a little bit of color back in, and now you can see the skin and the foundation is starting to all make sense. And now we're just doing a little bronzing, and I like to do lots of like sheer layers and just kind of like build it very, very slowly, because one of the worst things you can do is like you have your foundation all perfect, you've set it into place, and then you go in too heavy-handed with the bronzer, and then you end up having to buff it off and then potentially buffing away some of the foundation that you've worked so hard to get right. So I like to do lots of like fluffy, light strokes. And then I do this and I kind of take whatever is left on my brush and I just kind of like zhuzh it all together, for lack of a better word. I kind of get it into the crease and maybe up to the hairline. And now we're doing a little bit of blush. I believe this one, I'm going to double check, but I believe this was the MAC Lovejoy, which is a beautiful bronzy, sort of glowy, goldy color. It looks great on medium and deeper skin tones in particular. I didn't want to have a ton of blush in this look. I just wanted the eyes to kind of be the focus and everything else to kind of like just get in line. So we kind of kept all the other features pretty tame, pretty low-key. I really like Alicia's brows. They're thick. They're not over tapered or, over waxed or overdone in any way. So I didn't do a whole lot. I just brushed through them with a spoolie, and then I took a little bit of eyeshadow. This is MAC Fashion Fix, which is just like a cool medium brown, and I just brushed that through just to add a little bit more color now that we've got the face on. Doing a little eyelash curling and a little mascara. This step is just so when I go to put the false lashes on, the natural lashes are a little bit stiffer, so they have something to sit on. Not super necessary, but I find that with clients, it makes it a little more comfortable, because if you think of it, if you just have your lashes and then you put the strip of the false lash on top, they can sort of buckle under pressure, for lack of a better word. So I do a little bit of mascara and it sort of stiffens them so they have a little shelf. And I'm just going in with a set of Ardell Demi Wispies, and I'm just kind of manipulating them into place. If you're new at false lashes, I think one of the best things you can do is just really take your time. The glue does not dry in a second, so you have a little bit of time to get the lash down on the lash line, the natural lash line, and then kind of manipulate them. And then Alicia said she could kind of feel them, so what she did, because she knows how to work them, is she just takes her finger, and I'll have the client do this on their own, just kind of push them up a little bit so that they're out of your view, and then they just feel a little more comfortable. And usually within about 4 or 5 minutes, the glue will completely set, and it shrinks a little bit so that it's a little more comfortable. So now just a little bit of lip balm. This is the MAC lip conditioner. I probably should have done this in the beginning to give it a little more time to kind of sink into her lips, but we got talking. I forgot, and I got started with the eyes. So we did it now, but for best results, do it first, or like do it with the skincare, and then it's got, 20 minutes or so to kind of sink into the lips before you get to the lipstick. We mixed a little bit of Too Faced Pink Chocolate and a little bit of MAC Brave, which happens to be one of Alicia's favorites anyway. And it's funny, I kind of knew that, but I didn't know that. I picked it for her anyway because I think it's just like great minds think alike, and I think it's just a really great color on her. I added a little bit of the pink chocolate because I kind of wanted to like not make it so pastel, peachy, pink, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to deepen it a little bit, make it a little more sophisticated. And then I'm going in with MAC Soar Lip Liner, and I'm doing that after I do the lipstick. A lot of times people ask me, do I do the lip liner first or last? It's really up to you. My personal preference is to do the lipstick, get it down with a lip brush, and then do the lip liner to do any kind of like shaping or perfecting. And then you can just press together, add another layer of lipstick if you like, and that is about it. Of course, we're going to do a little makeup setting spray. I always tell my clients, close your eyes, do not open, and I'll cover their eyes with my hand, and then I'll start spraying, and then they realize, okay, there's going to be mist coming out of my face, and then I can remove my hand. So now Alicia is taking down her hair because she's the hair expert. She's a very talented hairdresser, so if it looks good, that is why. So you guys, I hope you like the look, and if you have any questions or comments, just put them below. Thanks for watching.